Hey, what's up, bro? How's your week going?
It's not bad. Some good things and bad things going on, but as always. But how about you?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've been thinking about a lot of different concepts recently. Um, Especially, in a time of your life where you don't really like have, for me in particular, I don't really know exactly what I want to do right now, and I feel like, I'm a bit like I have like different goals, but I'm not sure exactly what, motivates me. So I was thinking about a concept recently that I got from this guy named Johnny Kim. He was not only a Navy SEAL, he became a Harvard doctor, and now he's like a NASA astronaut. So if you're able to be one of those things in life, you're extremely successful.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this man literally like is acquiring rings like Thanos. Like Thanos. He's just
Yo,
like,
yo,
I need this
literally
and that.
by just getting like one stone, one infinity stone, which is one of the
Yeah,
accomplishment, it's already hard enough. He got like what? He got three?
he got three. And so like that's so motivating to me. And I don't want to be a Navy SEAL. I don't want to be a Harvard doctor, but it just like brings into your life like when you're 60 and you look back on your life, you're 70, you look back on your life, like what do you want to accomplish? Like, I think that, you should be answering not to like your parents, not to your, boss, not to your friends. You should be answering to your older, wiser self. Like, what do you want? And for me, I realized like I want to be sitting in my office in my nice house and looking at a wall of pictures of my accomplishments of things that I want to do in life. Like I want to be a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I want to run the New York City
Which
Marathon.
you did not even know that you wanted it until you just slowly put yourself into that rabbit hole of black belt journey, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved martial arts, but I've just been putting it off for so long that it was literally this podcast talking between you and me for like the
Mhm.
last few weeks that it occurred to me like I was just putting it off. I kept saying what I wanted, but I didn't take any action and I didn't even start.
Yeah, the guilt trip really works. I like it. They call it the accountability system. I call it like the public shaming guilt trip system. I like that. I like that. And what were
Yeah.
you saying too?
Yeah, and so like these accomplishments, maybe I want to get a master's degree one day, and further my education. Maybe I want to learn Gen AI. I want to get certifications. I want to learn, I want to have pictures with my family. I want to be able to like take them to nice places, travel. These like I just want like a life of experiences, and it's really important to know what you want so it motivates you every day to move towards those goals because otherwise I'm just gonna wake up and play video games and watch Netflix and fuck around all day and then it's gone. And so like whether or not you wake up in the morning and you move towards your goals or you wake up in the morning and you don't do shit, the day's gonna be over. So
Yo,
imagine,
it's
yeah,
so easy to like not focus on your goals. I don't know why. It's so hard. It's
because we're
so
like
hard.
adult children and we need to like literally parent ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, so for me, my this week is like I try to get things done, right? But then I experience like I think what I'm experiencing, I'm gonna call this coding fatigue. It's like I've been just staring at a code all day long that you just get to a point where imagine like you're just eating like a piece of steak, right? Like the steak tastes good on the first day, and then you eat the steak again the second day, and then you eat the steak again the third day. By the time when you're in like the fourth week, you're like I know this is good for me. I know I need to have a better health in the future, but I just give me like McDonald's or something. I want to do something bad just so that I can have some kind of variation. And that's something bad for me. Instead of coding, it's a whole lot of distractions. So what happened for me was instead of just working, I I just want to quickly take maybe just 1 minute checking on Facebook. Nothing was going on Facebook. I quickly just want to check maybe 2 minutes on Twitter. Nothing was going on Twitter, just a whole bunch of news. And then since there's nothing else to do, it actually triggered my worst behavior, which is fapping. I was like, let me just check what some of these videos are doing because no one's around in the house. I just kind of open up some, adult porn sites and I started looking at it. Like, let me just check one or two videos. It's I the coding fatigue was so bad that I did not want to work that I would rather fap instead of doing work. Like I'm just literally sitting there and I felt very disgusted with myself. And yet I still keep on doing it. And that's what
Yeah.
happened with me this week sometimes.
Yeah, thank you for being so vulnerable, Youngie, and sharing that like experience because I think we can always we've all been there, right? Where, you
Yo,
know,
guys fap, man. I think she has to
yeah,
accept that.
you basically tell yourself, "Oh no, today's the last day, tomorrow I'm gonna start a new
Never
day."
again. Never again.
And then tomorrow's the same thing. It's like, okay, I'll just keep procrastinating. Uh, and so I was gonna ask you, do you think how much of these distractions do you think you could channel in a maybe more productive distraction? Like maybe if you're like getting coding fatigue, maybe you can go to the gym. Maybe you can go for a run and do something a little bit more productive, but just something different. Because you can still be productive. Maybe your brain is just telling you, "Oh, I don't want to be productive in this one thing right now." Because I experience that too because if I'm reading a book and I'm like, dang, I don't really want to read this book anymore. It might not be I don't want to read this book anymore, like read anymore. It's maybe I don't want to read this book anymore. And sometimes I switch different books and I'll read two books at the same time.
So it's basically you kind of do different kind of thing. So
Yeah,
instead of doing like a bad distraction, you do like a good distraction kind of
right.
behavior. So
Exactly.
it doesn't matter what activity you're distracted, they're all kind of like still pushing you towards the same direction.
Yeah. Like just pick a good distraction. Like, because like if you're focused on a one thing and you're feeling stuck, like if you're coding and you're like, oh, I'm not getting it, sometimes the best thing you can do is just take a break and then you come back to it and you're thinking differently about the problem and you can fix it better. So your brain is telling you, it isn't telling you like, oh, go do these bad things. It's telling you like, I don't want to do this one thing anymore.
Like go take a walk right now. I'll just like marinate on these ideas until these
Yeah.
ideas come back to you. Yeah, actually, these problems are actually pretty challenging. Sometimes it's just, planning the entire structure of the new database. When you want something new, you have to plan how it fits into the overall system. Um, I think that's a really good idea. So like I come up with this concept where I mean, and I did not come up with it. I read it on somewhere on Twitter in my distractions. It's saying you have to treat your mind like a house. Like for example, like when you come home, if you see your house is messy, you don't feel so good. But if you come home, if you're really tired, you go to your bed. If you go home to a very clean, neatly folded bed, it just feels good. You feel relaxed. And that's the same thing with the mind. Instead of cluttering up your mind with a lot of different trash or furnitures that's supposed to be dumped into the trash, you're not doing that. So for me, those trash equivalent of mental house, inside my mental house will just be all the distractions. It's I feel like it's burning out my brain and just wasting my brain power on all these news that I don't even think would amount to much of the productivity that I want in the future. So I think one way to do that is just eliminate it. Of course, eliminate doesn't really work, so I need to find a way to improve on that. And that's my thought and on idea on where I need to go next. But I know that that's the direction I want to head to.
Yeah. And Youngie, like is it's kind of coincidental because when you're thinking about this concept this week, I was also thinking about a very similar concept, except for mine, it was around how easy it is. Like similar to your house concept where it's really easy to get cluttered. For me, I realize like how easy it is. Like if you introduce one bad habit into your life, it becomes more likely that other bad habits
It's like the
and to
weed in a garden, right?
yeah.
Like the that kind of analogy.
Yeah, and it spreads like wildfire because
Oh,
your
so
brain
true. Oh my
is
God.
like your brain is like, well, I'm already doing this one crappy thing. I might as well like do this other thing too, and then just reset next week. And then that's not how it works. Like, and so like for my example, last week I had to go to New York City for work. You know, I had a work trip. And so because I had a work trip, I didn't really meal prep the same way that I normally would because I'm like, well, I'm not here the whole week and I get to expense meals and eat out. And so I'm eating like at really nice restaurants, but it's a lot of like greasy, fry, like and fatty foods like, steak and ribs and,
Hmm.
all this like in sushi and it's not that healthy for me. And when I come back to my house after like traveling and expensing all these like unhealthy meals, I just continue to do the same thing, which is like, well, I'm already going to like the office. I might as well order out. And so I'm not cooking for myself. And when I don't cook for myself, like it almost subconsciously feels like I'm not taking care of myself. Because like if you think about the things that you do on a daily basis, Youngie, it shows to yourself that you love yourself. So if I wake up in the morning and I brush my teeth and I take care of myself, like my hygiene, I cook myself a meal, I eat, I'm giving myself nutrition, I take a shower, I feel good, I work out. All of these things is subconsciously telling me I care about me. And even if you consciously think about it or subconsciously think about it, when you do things that hurt yourself, whether that's like taking drugs, drinking alcohol, eating unhealthy, having, unprotected sex, doing things that put yourself at risk subconsciously communicates that you don't care about yourself. And like when you feel like that way subconsciously, it permeates through every other area of your life. It's like, well, I'm not going to go to the gym today. I'm not just fat. I'm going to watch Netflix. I'm not going to work. I'm going to play video game. I'm going to do all these bad things because, well, I don't care about myself anyways. But when you start the week off, in my opinion, on like healthy footing where it's like, damn, I really care about myself. I'm doing look at all these things I'm doing. I'm getting up early. I'm like working out. My body feels good. I'm gonna like eat healthy. And it just creates this like constant, cycle of taking care of yourself, feeling good, taking care of yourself, feeling good.
Yeah, I totally see that. Like the funny analogy is I see it's just that like a short-term pleasure actually give you like guilt trip of you hating yourself, not liking yourself, right? But
Yeah.
short-term displeasure, but knowing that this is gonna give you a long-term gain actually does speak self-love. Like for example, every time after like I fap, like it feels really good short term, but then right afterward, I feel like my heart just cries a little bit. And then I just whisper in my mind. I don't even say anything, but inside my mind, I just look up at the sky, at the ceiling. I'm like, I hate myself a little bit.
Yeah.
I
You
hate
get
myself.
that like you get that post nut clarity.
Yeah, it's just like, what am I doing? Like, why did I do that? I feel so ashamed. I suck. Oh my God. Like that. Also, same thing for alcohol, like you're like, wow, yeah, let's go party, let's rage.
Yeah.
But on the second day, you're like, oh, I have a headache. Like you cannot even work the entire next day, you know,
Yeah.
everything, and
You
and
have to
but
pay the
but but yeah, but then like
yeah.
when you go to the gym, like and like, man, this is hard. But then at the end of the day, you're like, man, my muscle is sore. But I sacrificed today for a better tomorrow. Like I feel so good. I don't know what it is. It just feels so much better knowing that like you're in pain, but yet your suffer was worth it. It was justified.
It's because like when you do things that is good for you, your body releases like endorphins. So when you work out and you move your body, it releases endorphins because it encourages you to do it again.
That's true.
Whereas like when you do things like fapping, taking drugs, drinking alcohol, and other things like that, it gives you dopamine. But the thing about dopamine is that when dopamine spikes, when you're doing the thing that is and it sometimes it doesn't even spike when you're actually doing the thing, which is crazy to me. Dopamine actually spikes before you do the thing. Did you know that?
Yes, yes.
It spikes
Actually, like,
it
oh my
spikes like
God.
when it spikes like when you know when you're like, dang, I'm about to do the thing. I shouldn't be
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, I'm so excited. I know I should not be doing this, but like I just want to do it, man.
Yeah. And so like it spikes, but you know when it spikes, it has to come back down. And it
Yeah,
usually comes back down after you know, you nut or you drink or you have a hangover or you're coming down from your high. And it's just like it's bad for you.
yeah, yeah. The worst is that like it's like when your brain already climax right before you know that you're about to do something really bad. It's like you want to press the pause button and to stop it, but you just can't. You know, like imagine if you just like it just like it's kind of like you get the anticipation, you just feel really good, and then you're like your brain already your mind already nutted. And then like now just for the physical bodies to catch up and you're like, oh wait, no, I don't want it anymore. But
It's
you
too
can't catch
late.
up anymore. It's too
Yeah.
late. It's too late.
Yeah. And that's why like I one of the things I wanted to say was like around discipline. So your discipline is like a muscle, but your muscle can be fatigued. So if you constantly test yourself every single hour, every single day with temptation, you're gonna crack. No one is impenetrable. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like you know, like the analogy of water dripping on a rock
Mm-hmm.
over like maybe it's like not a year, maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's 100 years. But over time, that testing of the rock is gonna wear it down and it will always crack the rock. And so
Yeah,
I always,
in my case, my rock is just a paper. Like the moment you just drip the water, it's not that strong. My
yeah, it's
discipline
not
is
that
really
strong.
weak right now.
Your,
I
your,
cannot.
your, yours is like two drips and then it goes,
That was
and
it. That was it. I was like,
that
oh
was it.
well, I
That's all
guess
it
it's
took.
over now.
That's all it took. But yeah, like, and so what's better is just like establish the good habits and don't let the temptation even try you. Easier said than done,
Yeah.
but like kind of like what I was saying earlier, if you start the week, if you start your year with good habits and you maintain it, it makes it harder for the temptation to come.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you want to stop drinking, maybe it's better to not even do it in moderation. Just do it cold turkey, just so that you don't even get exposed to any of the trigger that you're trying
Mhm.
to avoid, you know?
Yeah.
Just
It's
just
like
like
the
have no
trigger.
trigger at all. Like just make
Yeah, the
sure you're just
trigger
not
is the
even
toughest
there.
part. The
Yeah.
trigger is the tough part. Like if you have friends who encourage you to drink, maybe you pull them aside and tell them, "Hey, I'm trying to stop drinking. You know, I want to be your friend, but if you're gonna keep inviting me out, I think I need to distance myself." Or, you know, you kind of have to remove the triggers because like those triggers are temptations.
Yeah. And you it's like what you said, your brain is not like your willpower is not impenetrable, you know, like it's you're gonna get beaten down by all these suggestions.
Hmm.
Yeah, oh my God. Okay, so basically the idea here is just to avoid triggers and just make sure that you just stay on it because what I was surprised is that like when you get back, it's really hard for you to reset. I thought it might just be easy. It's like, okay, cool. Let me just go back and just start meal prepping. So it actually is harder than, when you say it
Yeah.
is supposed to be.
all it takes is one time to fall off the horse and not get back on it.
Yeah. I think it's a lot easier to just stay on a horse the entire time than actually just get off and then get back on.
Yeah. Because it's like inertia, right?
Yeah.
Things that, you know, things that are in motion stay in motion, things that
Hmm.
are at rest stay at rest.
Yeah, I think one easy way to see that is like you're swimming, right? Like swimming is like it takes a while for you to finally gather up speed so that you could just be on a constant speed when you're swimming.
Yeah.
But at the moment when you get tired, if you want to stop, oh my God, you have to like paddle your way up just to get back on track again. And it's gonna take you like quite a few seconds before you could finally get back to like the speed that you were at before.
And not even just the time, Youngie, but also the energy. Think about how much energy it takes you, like a car, to go from 60 miles per hour to like to stay at 60 miles per hour. Like how much gas do you think it takes to maintain that miles per hour? Versus like if you stop, like you stop to 0 mile, like you stop and then you try to go back to 60 miles an hour, you're gonna spend a lot of gas and a lot of energy trying to get back to 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, man. So what is like your, like okay, so, like by discussing this is good. Like what is our action plan to try to tackle this next week?
Yeah. I think like my action plan for my first point around like accomplishments is I want to create like a list of things like I want and really like I like what you always tell me, young you, which is like seek out wisdom from your older, wiser self because no one knows you better than you. And
Yeah.
so I want to come up with a list of goals similar to what I was mentioning. Like I want to be a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and teach my kids in the future. I want to have a family. I want to have this and that and all these other things. I need to like write it down so that I know what my goals are every single day and I can visualize it and I can move towards it meaningfully every single day. And then the other thing around not letting our house get into disorder and disarray is knowing what habits are the keystone habits. For me, it's like meal prepping.
Hmm.
It's like I just realized just this past week that meal prepping is one of them. I didn't realize that meal prepping was one of them actually. But this past week I realized like I started doing other bad habits because of the fact that, I wasn't meal prepping. And so figuring out like
That,
what is their keystone habits. It's like working out, cooking for myself is a few, but I really need to think about it because I didn't even know cooking was one of them.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I noticed that I get severely distracted when I don't get enough sleep. So I
Yeah.
think my keystone habit is actually just sleep on time. Like
Yeah.
just make sure I have 7 to 8 hours of sleep because on the days when I don't have enough sleep,
Yeah.
all my habits fall apart. Like
Hmm.
just nothing. Like it's like I have no willpower to will it in my life to control what I want to happen during the day.
Yeah, because without sleep, you have zero willpower. Like sleep and willpower are
The
like
paper is not
correlated.
even there. The paper is
Yeah.
just gone.
That's why like yours is like a piece of paper and two drips because you're not sleeping.
Just like nothing
Oh,
even there. Just go through.
yeah, just leave me alone. Just go through. Another keystone habit that I mentioned, I think last week or the week before, Youngie, was meditation, dude. Meditation is a game changer for
Oh,
me. I noticed that if I don't meditate, I'm more likely to get triggered. Like to the very
facts,
specific
facts. Yo,
day.
that's so true. That's
No,
true.
like Youngie, to the specific day. And you would think like, oh, like maybe here or there. No. If I don't meditate that morning, I notice myself getting triggered easier.
Yes. I that's so true. It really also rings to my sense. I think I I'm probably gonna do exactly what you're doing, except
Yeah.
I need to sleep more. So it's just like for you it's meal prepping. For me, it's just sleep very early. And two is meditation in the morning. I think that really, really helps. And then
And
one small thing that you kind of nonchalantly glanced over is actually just picture your future. I think
mhm,
I need to do that a lot more because by picturing, I noticed that before when I was like just single and desperate, like I picture and imagine my future a lot. And believe it or not, that really, really, really helps.
mhm, mhm. Is there any other keystone habits you think that helped like that in your life that might help in mine?
Um, it's just like Elon, just like subtract. The best is so like the first step of improvement is not by adding things, it's by subtracting things.
Mm, mhm,
You
mhm,
could even go as extreme to subtract too many because eventually it's okay. You could just add it back in just in case if you mess up,
mhm,
so maybe think about what you can subtract first that's easily that you could just like maybe
mhm.
keystone things that you could delete out of your life, whatever it is. I think for
Yeah.
me, maybe just delete all my social media apps. Perhaps that will help.
Wow. You know what's crazy? The two concepts that I was talking about, like the kind of tie in together if you
Hmm.
think about it,
Yeah.
because the visualization of what you want in terms of your goals, like imagine like that wall of all your accomplishments, like what you want in life,
Hmm.
that is going to help me subtract my what I need to do on a day-to-day basis in order to get there.
You're like,
So
this is not gonna help me get there. Subtract.
exactly. And so it's kind of
Oh,
like
that's true.
we brought this whole conversation, full circle, Youngie,
Yeah.
where the visualization of the long-term goals influences how we subtract our day-to-day, and so that we can focus on the keystone habits and all the minor steps that takes us to like the 1,000 path journey.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's true. I think I definitely need to do that. I think we got a great plan for next week then.
Yeah. Okay. And I think we're almost out of time for this
Yeah.
podcast. But, yo, we had a great
Yeah.
conversation, man. I
Yeah, I
think this
like
is
this
one of
conversation.
our
We should
best
do this
ones.
more often, man.
Yeah, I think this is one of our best conversations yet. So,
All right. Sounds good.
all
Till
right.
next week.
Next week, brother. I'll talk to you
All
later.
right. See you.